An innovating force in the field of virtual reality has been Meta, formerly known as Facebook. Since purchasing the original VR pioneer Oculus in 2014, Meta has made waves in the industry. In early 2022, Mark Zuckerberg, the owner of Meta, introduced the concept of a metaverse which is anchored in virtual reality. The concept involves a number of user-created virtual spaces that can be interacted with in a persistent setting. It is an evolution of products such as Roblox and Fortnite, both of which have served as early examples of what Meta intends to achieve. The idea is controversial. Many in the industry decry the concept due to its close relation with non-fungible tokens, which themselves created controversy in 2021 and 2022. Both would rely on blockchain technology, and many have seen the metaverse as a mule from which NFTs can be monetized on a large scale. In spite of controversy, Meta has still rolled out plans for a greater metaverse, and it all starts with their flagship, Horizon Worlds. Horizon Worlds is everything that Meta wants the metaverse to be. It has a variety of unique user-created worlds to play on, social activities, and plenty of gameplay. It is their shining showcase for those who are interested in what Meta wishes to create. In the interest of seeing what it had to offer, I decided to hop on Horizon Worlds to see the metaverse in action. Upon entering, I'm greeted by my very basic Meta avatar. After a short statement on the safety mechanisms in place, such as the recording of player activity, I'm sent off into the tutorial. Immediately, one may notice that, compared to other virtual reality games, or other games in general, the graphic quality on display is quite low. This was a popular discussion when the photo of Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg in the metaverse made its rounds on the internet. Back in August 2022, Zuckerberg replied to those who commented on the graphics that Horizon and their avatar graphics would be updated soon. However, in April of 2023, you can see that little has changed. After I completed the tutorial, I was presented with 3 worlds representing the 3 gameplay modes that they have to offer: adventure, action, and comedy. Player counts within Horizon Worlds, which I may remind you is Meta's flagship, are uncharacteristically low for something that has the weight of the tech juggernaut behind it. Although it was at low hours, there were still only roughly 100 players. For reference, a significantly smaller VR shooter title published on Steam, Pavlov VR, clocked around 250 players at the same time. A game closer to its weight class, VR Chat, had 23,000 players at the same time. The first game I played, Adventure Islands, is a multiplayer arena shooter and had the highest player count at 65 players. Compared to other VR shooters, it was significantly more simplified, even lacking the ability to use both hands to hold a weapon. It was interesting for a brief spurt, but ultimately had little lasting appeal. Afterwards, I joined the Soapstone Comedy Club, the second most popular game at 20 players. I stopped by and listened to a valet tell a joke and talk to the crowd, and I considered taking interviews before hearing a random person say a slur, so much for Meta's safety features, and I decided to leave shortly after. I moved on to Wild Wild West, which had exactly 2 silent players, a hat, a couple minigames, but was otherwise very empty. Keep in mind this was tied for the 3rd most popular VR game on Horizons. One unique part of all these, however, is that they were created by users. Some users have even created multiple worlds to play on. Wild Wild West developer Immorgal also created a laser sword fight game with weapons that looked very much like they were copied straight from Star Wars. Despite seeming significantly more interesting than the rest of the titles on display, it was completely empty. I gave up my journey then, as there appeared to be nobody else playing games on the metaverse, and I had seen all I could. Overall, if Meta intends for this to be their flagship social platform on VR, it still needs work. Comedy Club was by far the strongest experience that they had on offer. It shows that the metaverse shines when people are interacting, like with the pleasant banter between a comedian and the crowd. Meanwhile, their games that they have on offer seem significantly more limited than both their VR and traditional counterparts. Gunplay and swordplay in standalone titles such as Boneworks and Blade and Sorcery look and feel significantly better than what Meta had to display. The primary issue that can be seen going forward is that there don't seem to be enough players to sustain Meta's investment long term. Other properties belonging to their own separate metaverses, Roblox and VRChat both boast player counts to the tune of 300,000 and 25,000 concurrently. Meanwhile, in my experience, I only saw roughly 100 players on Horizon Worlds. Since back in February of 2022, when they boasted about having 200,000 active players a month, Meta has not released any of their own player statistics. Thanks to internal memos, Forbes was able to report that Meta had dropped 100,000 players between February and October of 2022. They noted that many players don't return to Horizon VR past the first month. If Meta plans to continue to promote its Metaverse, especially with its flagship social application Horizon Worlds, it will drastically need to right its ship, because at the moment, things do not appear well for the tech juggernaut.